Hello, students. For this lesson, we have been looking very closely at actual eyes. The eyes of reptiles are interesting because they're so different from ours as humans, yet there's some things that are really similar. The amount of detail and color can be really exciting. You know you are not looking at a human being. So we are inspired by this to create enormous dragon eyes. And so that means as an artist, we can take liberties with the things that we observe and design it however we want. We started last time with a large upside down U shape for the top of an eye and an underneath U shape for the bottom. We had several options for the shape of the pupil. And then we were certain to add a shine someplace on the eye, and a shine can be any shape. Here I put it as a circle right in the center of my star-shaped pupil. Then we talked about using a variety of shapes for our scales: large, small, squarish, ovalish, circle-ish, so that yours looks more naturalistic, like the reptile eyes we have seen in our photographs. The inside of our pupil is jet black, and we used either markers or crayons last time. I'm actually recommending crayons. The markers were fun, but you might need to add a bit more crayon to your work today, as you'll see. So we're using the color wheel to decide about color, and when we saw the animal eyes, we saw that two colors can be used together inside the eye to create the look of depth, the look that it's a round and even translucent eye. So you're going to start with one color, preferably a lighter wash of a color with lots of water in the center areas of your eye, avoiding the pupil and avoiding the shine. If you'd like to add white crayon to your shine, I highly recommend it. That keeps it nice and white. So here I'm adding a light yellow. And then I'm going to its neighbor color, which is orange. Because they're right next to each other, one helps to round out or darken the other. I could have also done this with green, which lies on the other side of yellow. And then using water and varying amounts of pigment, I can make it look like this eye starts out very pale in the center and rounds outside to a much darker color at the edge. You can use any two colors on the color wheel. You'll just want to use a lighter one for the inside and a darker one for the outside. You can have a red center with a purple outside. And so here's where, because I'm ready to begin the scales, I add black crayon outside of this eye so that I can begin and there will be a barrier between the outside and inside. I do not want my skin color that I'm creating now to bleed into my eye colors. I want them to contrast against each other. So if you use black crayon today in only one place, let it be around the outside of your eye before you start any watercolor. I made the mistake of doing this after. And so I did the same thing on the scales. My scales have two neighboring colors, blue and purple, and I'm using the blue to kind of bulge out the center and the purple to tone down the receding areas around the outside. Here again is the color wheel showing how blue and purple were next to each other and yellow and orange were next to each other. This is an example sheet of how you can take any color and sort of blend or ombre it down into a neighboring color on the color wheel. I really want to see you experimenting with that for this project. So red and purple are good for blending tones. Here's another one where I used a yellow center for the eye and green. And then to contrast with that, I have red scales that have a little bit of purple tone on the outside. And you can experiment with different amounts of pigment to make things lighter or darker. You can also experiment with different amounts of water. A lot of students need to use more water in order to do blending. We do not want to use so much pigment that we have a syrupy substance on our paper. This makes it sticky and it takes away all of the translucency that make it look alive. And here's a third example where yellow and green were used for the outside, and I stayed with just a purple color using light and dark purple for the scales. Because this was done with crayon, it kind of delightfully leaves dark spots and light spots. All right, have fun.